where does self-esteem come from? What would boost it? Not artificially, but in a natural way. Well, Nicholas Emler certainly looked at this, and he's looked at quite a lot of research that's been done worldwide. And he would say a third of self-esteem just seems to be down to the individual. So it's partly about personality, it's partly just who you are. Over the years, I've done quite a lot on personality type, and I would agree with that. I think some people just have higher self-esteem, almost at a natural basis, than others. Not that that is necessarily always a positive characteristic, because it can mean that people think they're right, or people think they're more important than other people. It's not always comes over as positive. But the other 2/3 seems to come from parents, and it's about parenting style. So here's a few ways to think about parenting styles. There's a parenting style that people often describe as authoritarian. And that means it's fairly cold, it's not child-centered, and it's quite hard in the sense it's about rules and you do it because I'm telling you, right? Now, that kind of parenting style, which I think was quite common in Scotland until about 20 or 30 years ago, is not good for the development of self-esteem, because it's very intent in putting people in their place and often taking them down a peg or two into the bargain. That is not a positive development for self-esteem. But if we go to the opposite extreme from that, there's an indulgent parenting style, which is warm, it's child-centered, but it's soft. In other words, it's indulging the child. It's saying, you do what you want, and I'll let you because I'm your best friend, right? So the indulgent parenting style is one that is very, very intent on what the child wants and indulging the child's desires in many ways. And I think there's a lot of that around. And I think partly people have swung from, having experienced authoritarian parenting to I'm not going to be like that, and they've gone to the opposite extent, and they're fairly indulgent. I have sons who have worked in the catering industry, and if you talk to any people who work as waiters or whatever, they will tell you how horrified they are at how parents let their children do anything. And they are actually expecting you, as the waiter or the waitress, to correct their children or tell them off or tell them what to do because they're not doing it. That's indulgent parenting. That kind of parenting is not good for the development of self-esteem either. Then there's neglectful, which is cold, but it's soft. Do what you like because I'm not interested in you. Here's 30 quid, I don't want to see you till Monday. Or 80 quid, I think often it is. I don't want to see you till Monday, right? It's neglectful, and then sometimes neglect is far worse than that. It can be abusive and so on. That's not good for self-esteem either. The type of parenting that's very good for the development of self-esteem is what's considered warm, child-centered, but firm. There are clear rules and boundaries. You're not just doing what you like. I'm your parent, and I know better than you what's good for you. Sounds old-fashioned, that, but that is the type of parenting that is much better for developing genuine, real self-esteem. Now, this is not do as I say because I'm telling you. It's much more open than that. If a child could come up with a good reason for why that's not the case, you may change your mind. It's open, but it's not assuming that the child should be doing what they like, and it's not fearful of establishing clear rules and boundaries. The important, I think, take-home message for parents on this is there aren't shortcuts to a lot of this. This is about really creating a warm, loving environment for your children. I mean, sometimes I hear people saying, tell your child you love them because they have curly hair, they're beautiful, they run fast, they're top of the class or whatever. My take on this would be, tell your child you love them because they're your child. That's unqualified love and affection. It's not linked to anything they do, you just love them, right? And it's in that kind of unqualified love loving environment that's got the foundations of a good life, because there are rules there as well, and there are clear boundaries for what you can do and the way in which you're being brought up, which is really good for children. And I don't think we're having enough discussion about that. I think when it comes to teachers and people working with young people, I think the important lessons from the self-esteem movement and its legacy and its impact on all of us is the importance of keeping it real, right? So if you're teaching young people, it's about real feedback, it's about real challenges, it's about real skills, it's about encouraging perseverance and good learning strategies. And I think it's very important for us as parents that we see the value in challenge and don't somehow think that we're doing our children a big favour if we want them to coast through life never experiencing adversity.